It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome into another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. Alan, don't you just love when the Steelers cooperate with us on our plans for the show?
I actually, I texted Omar and I was like, look, I know you got some stuff going on, but
today was going to be the day for a center. Actually,
we kind of promised them that we would do this if you could just hold off. And he was like, absolutely, Alan, sure thing. Anything for you, no problem. We'll take care of that. And so I made that happen for you, the audience of Steelers Afternoon Drive. You're welcome. And glad that we didn't have much news today, so we can do this thing that we've kind of been talking about doing. We didn't really know whether it was going to happen today, but the news cooperated, and here we are.
Absolutely. So we are going to do a 7-round mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The first one that we've done on here. A lot of people have asked for it. They also want us to do separate ones at some point, which we will definitely do as well. But yeah, Omar, we appreciate that. We know that today was going to be the day for a center, but we appreciate you holding off for another 24 hours or so before checking that box so we can do a mock draft on here. So we're going to get into it. We're going to have some discussion at each pick. We're going to discuss the idea of moving up. We're going to have offers, I'm sure, to move back. We will discuss the idea of that, discuss the selection that we make. And in the comments, you guys can have your discourse as well in terms of what you would have done differently. If you like the selection, which I'm expecting to not have happen based off what we normally see in the comments. So very excited for this, Alan. And unless you got anything else, without further ado, we get into
just in general, what is your thought process going in? What do you feel like are the most important things? Maybe what are you looking for?
Well, I mean, okay, so at the time of recording this, still no center that I think we can to have on day one. But just kind of, again, going back to yesterday's episode, reading the tea leaves, I feel like tackle. I think that there's going to be a really good tackle available to us at 20 that I would expect. I'm more so, I think it's going to be tackle, or are we enticed to take an offer to move up? Those are the two things that I'm kind of thinking are going to be in play for us.
I'm interested in the idea of moving down, depending on what's available there, especially if there's more than one of these tackles there. I think that's interesting to me. The Steelers have a bunch of needs, and the center position. Like I don't want to take a center in the first round. I don't think it's good value. I don't think there's a player in this draft at center that I would really love at number 20. I think you're reaching a little bit if it's Jackson Powers Johnson there. And
you mentioned to me about, is there any news? I guess that's somewhat noteworthy put out there that like the league is not as high on Jackson Powers Johnson as like maybe people outside are, like fan bases, like the perception, maybe some people in the media that were kind of pushing that early, like put out today that, wouldn't necessarily it was Matt Miller at ESPN, wouldn't necessarily expect to see him go within that top 25. He could definitely go in the first round, but he's not like this slam dunk surefire round one center that a lot of people have talked about him like.
The Rams are right before the Steelers at 19, and I talked to somebody over the week at the owners' meetings who said they think 19 is the absolute highest he could possibly be drafted.
Oh, wow.
And it wouldn't surprise him if he falls into the second round. I also have thought for a very long time that there is not that much difference. Like people are looking at this between the Steelers picks and saying, oh, it's Jackson Powers Johnson at 20 or Zach Frazier at 51. And I'm like, those guys aren't that far apart. They are not 30 picks apart in terms of like their ability. Like they're pretty darn close together. And so I think they're both going to go between 25 and 40, probably. Like that's where I'm at with those guys. So I don't love the idea of center in the first round, but I don't love the idea of waiting until 51 to address it either right now. Like that's kind of where I'm at. So if I can move back and add some draft capital and then maybe use that to move up in the second round, I think that's what I might be looking to do, but we'll have to see how things fall.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll share my screen and we can get into it and make sure that we can all see this because I'm going to have to switch tabs, obviously, to be able to make this selection. So we're good, right? You can see this, Alan? If you can see it, everybody can see it.
Yeah,
great. Okay.
All
right, I'm gonna throw some money. Oh yeah, let me close that up. Let me throw some money on this. We're gonna have Caleb Williams come off the board here at number 1. I'm guessing.
I hope so.
There it is. Drake May at 2. Jaden Daniels. So far, pretty. Oh, okay. Let me just pause this for a second, just because J.J. McCarthy, number 6 to the New York Giants. So they have Daniel Jones under contract. They bring in Drew Lock, and now they also draft J.J. McCarthy at number 6. What's your thought?
I think J.J. McCarthy at number 6 is not crazy, but I think it'll be the Giants trading down if it happens.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, like, okay, Minnesota has these two. They got pick 23, and they're sitting at 11, and they're just like letting that happen, and they're just gonna.
No, they're not. No, absolutely. Minnesota's going to move up to make sure that doesn't happen. We got our first 2 tackles off the board. Actually, there's a couple of Steelers targets off the board there.
Yeah, this is where you're going to start to see some of these tackles.
Was that Fashanu ahead of Joe Alt, or did Joe Alt go way high?
No, Alt is still on the board.
Okay, Fashanu ahead of Alt, I would strongly disagree with, but okay. And
he's still on the board. Yeah, Brock Bowers does come off at 12. That's something that we've talked about too. Like,
I know. Was that Taliesin Fuaga ahead of Alt as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Joe Alt making a fall down the board here. Interesting.
I do
love Taliesin Fuaga to the Jets. I feel like that's been talked about for a very long time. Terrion Arnold ahead of Quinyon Mitchell. Probably not the way I'd pick him, but not super surprising.
Yeah, and then, like I said, Brock Bowers here. We've talked about this like literally right before we started recording. Talked about the differences between like PFF's mock draft simulator as opposed to Pro Football Networks that we're using here. And you know, it's I don't know. It's kind of hard to find that sweet spot, right? Like, he's certainly worth this pick. It's just, you know, a tight end. Exactly is the
Broncos doing it? Like, what are they? Yeah, I don't
right.
know. Yeah. 15 Indianapolis, I feel like is the kind of sweet spot for Brock Bowers to me, where it's like, okay, this is the most likely spot. But even that, he's a really talented guy. I just think I put a mock draft sim out there of him falling to the Steelers at 20, and people are like, there's no way that could happen. I'm like, man, it's not crazy. Like, start doing the first round mock and find a place for him. He's too good to fall that far, but it does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Quinyon, there goes Quinyon, and there goes Joe Alt finally to New Orleans, which actually does make a lot more sense. Now. Okay. So hold on, I can hide this for a second just to look at who just recently came off the board. Joe Alt at 14. Would that have been something if he would have fell to 20? Because that has not happened yet when I've done these up until this. Troy Fontenot, who was a little bit of newsy thing today, top 30 with them, but we had already kind of touched on that. Nick brought that up in here. You brought that up.
Playing for his college offensive coordinator in Seattle. Yeah. Kool-Aid.
And then this is a big one here.
Off the board.
Yes, it is. And this is a big one here right after Mims 18 to Cincinnati, which would sting for a lot of Steelers fans.
Yeah, so if we're looking at tackle, we're left with J.C. Latham and Tyler Guyton. We'll have we have Jackson Powers Johnson on the board. We have all of the defensive linemen, if we want to go that route. At corner, we've got just Wiggins, I believe, of the top group. And then we have
Wiggins and then TJ Tampa.
And then we have Brian Thomas as the obvious next wide receiver off the board.
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at these traits.
Yeah. So you got San Fran, interested in coming up from 31, getting back 63 and 176. So 2 picks, 63, obviously second rounder. Where does 176 fall? Is that a 5th?
Or is that it's either a late 5th or an early 6th?
Yeah. Okay. Tennessee wants to come up as well. 38, 106, a 2025 first and a 2025 second. We would be including 195. I don't know about you, but like when I'm doing this, I understand that there's value in getting 2025 picks for like the actual franchise, but it's harder for me to accept one of those when doing a mock draft because like I'm not using these picks right now. What do I care about the 2025 picks when I'm doing this? So there's that. And then Kansas City, 32, 64, and 159.
So
and neither one of these are including any additional capital. So like, okay, 31, 63, and 176. They're 32, 64, and 159.
So very similar offers, basically.
Yeah. Well, we can reject this one, I feel like.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm not trading down to 38. The thing about these is that to me, pick 63 or 64 is not that enticing. And the late round pick is not enticing at all. And those teams don't have anything else that can help. Like they can't get us up out of 51. So we'll have to make. I think the only way this makes sense is if it's two trades, right? You're doing this, and then you're gonna like trade 51 and
also
84
trade up
to move up, right? Which I don't know if we have a feeling of how possible that's going to be or not.
So, kind of marrying the two together right now, though, like with the way that the board looks right now, who is it if you're sticking and picking that would be in this conversation for you, like this short list? Maybe like 3 guys.
I think Latham is actually kind of pretty far and away the best player on the board here. I'm honestly not sure it's even close. Like, I don't know who I would have second. Powers Johnson, maybe, or I mean, I think wide receiver is just too deep to go this early.
That's fair, yeah.
And
is Graham Barton in this conversation though?
And Nate Wiggins is the cornerback in this class that I just like the least. Like,
I agree. Yeah,
I think he's a good player. I don't want him.
I agree.
Graham Barton,
specifically for the Steelers. Yes.
If we trade down to 31, Graham Barton, I think then becomes the pick that we're hoping to get. Right.
Yeah.
But then what happens at tackle? Right. I mean, I don't know. We're not getting a tackle with 64. Certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not even going to get a very good tackle with 51. Certainly no one approaching the ability of a JC Latham. I mean, I don't think JC Latham's a star. I'm actually not like in love with him as a player, but I think this is a pretty bad board for the Steelers, and I think he's kind of head and shoulders better than all the other options.
I think for this is like how to sell it to Steelers fans. I feel like he's the one that gets Dan Moore Jr. off the field the quickest.
He gets Dan Moore Jr. off the field day one. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. That is the way to sell it to Steelers fans right now who don't love the idea of sticking and making this pick of JC Latham. That's the way to sell it to them. I was having a conversation about JC Latham with somebody, and I said, I'm not in love with him because of the ceiling, but I think he's going to play right away. And, at worst, I think he's a baseline starter, which obviously you don't want to have that hope for a first round pick, but I think he's a safe player to take in the first round.
Yeah, I agree he's safe. I mean, he's so big. He's not going to stop being big. Like most of his ability is his bigness. Like there is not projection here with JC Latham. It's that this is a huge freaking guy that takes a 35-minute drive to get around, and he's never going to stop being that. So as long as he stays healthy, he'll be good. He's not going to be great, but he's probably going to be good. I think it's a solid pick. I really, really generally dislike this board. I would trade down, but I think the options that we have are too far.
Yeah, if we trade down, I'm in agreement. I think that we might have Tyler Guyton on the board, but Graham Barton is probably
like if we could trade down 5 picks, and I would feel better about the idea of getting Tyler Guyton, then I think I would be more interested. But with what's here, I think Latham's the way I would go.
Okay. We're going to stick and pick JC Latham at pick 20. Let's see who came off the board here. Guyton goes to Dallas at 24. So if that would have happened, Oh, we saw JPJ go. Just want to pause to mention that pick 20, pick 26, right after 25.
There you go.
Another tackle, Graham Barton, first rounder.
Wouldn't have gotten Graham Barton even if we had traded down. Stop it right here.
Okay.
So I think this is a good spot if we want to come up and make sure we get Zach Frazier. This is kind of, I think, about where we need to start thinking about making an offer. Somewhere in these next 4 picks.
Okay. Yeah, let's look at the board here. Johnny Newton's still here. Bo Nix, Xavier Worthy, Penix, Morgan Frazier, who's listed here. Yeah, he's in that top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, seventh best player on the board. At this point, we obviously don't pick in the next 7 picks. So you got Tennessee, Carolina, Washington, Green Bay. There are definitely teams here that I feel like could take him. Could Philly even right in front of us? I mean, after losing Jason Kelce, I know that they have some internal options.
Philly has him. More problems on defense.
Juergens and So I don't know, but you also have to include the fact that it's not just these teams that we're worried about. Somebody else could also be looking to move up.
I mean, the Titans just signed Lloyd Cushenberry, so I don't think they are a threat to draft Frazier. The Panthers, I mean, maybe it's probably reasonable that they could. And then Washington just signed Biadasz, right?
Right.
So probably not them. Who do the Packers have at center? Josh Myers, second round pick a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I think Carolina is the biggest sort of threat here. Would you agree?
At least, yeah. Like at first glance, I would agree for sure. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, Creed Humphrey, John Michael Schmidt's here for KC and the Giants. Yeah, I think so. Carolina's, yeah. And I guess so. You have to ask yourself now. Okay, we checked the tackle box in the first round. Does it have to is Zach Frazier the player that we have to get with this pick?
I mean, it's got to be Frazier or Van Pran. I mean, we can't in this simulation world. We can't go sign somebody as a free agent. Like I would just sign Brian Allen and say we're not drafting a center and be done with it if I could. But I don't know that we can. So I honestly feel like in the situation we're in with no help at center.
Okay, so let's see what
it's kind of either trade up to get Frazier or stay and reach for Van Pran.
Let's just kick the tires on this. Okay, so we obviously have to go from 51 to 38. What would it take? Like, what do we want to try?
I mean, it's going to take a lot. So let me look at the chart and see what I think might be fair, but this is pretty far to go. So on the newest version of this,
yeah, 20, we're talking 13 picks in round 2.
So it's going to be like 45 points. So that is right in between the 2/3. So I'd say maybe let's see. So if it's 84, that'd be 51. Maybe getting 6 back. Maybe like 84, and we get 182 coming back to us.
Okay.
I mean, should
I try for something better and see if they take it?
You can try for 140. What is that? 145 or 146?
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
This is a significant payment. Now, are we sure we want to do this? I mean, if we propose this,
I'm not. I probably. I don't think that I would, to be honest with you.
So I mean, that's like the trade value chart version of what we need to do here to get up to 38 is like 84 or 80 98 plus or 84.
I like Zach Frazier a lot. I like him more than I do Van Pran. But if it meant also not having that third rounder to address, slot corner or wide receiver, I don't know that I like him that much more.
All right. Well, let's let it go. I mean, I think Carolina is the big pick. If it gets past Carolina, I think it'll get past Washington and Green Bay. Houston then becomes
pick.
Yeah, Houston then becomes certainly.
So
who did Tennessee take?
Tennessee took TJ Tampa, then Troy Franklin, and then Ennis Rakestraw.
Okay, I think we can let it go one more. That Georgia, they weren't gonna. All right, now let's look at what would have to do to get in front of Houston here, because they have a gaping hole in the middle of their offensive line, and this would start to feel like.
Well, Houston's the pick right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Green
like
Bay.
To get to Houston here, let's see, we're 9 picks up, so from 140 to 30 points. Book says 108 would be the value, so might get it done with 119, or if it's 98, you're going to get another pick back.
Okay.
So like 98 is 37. Oh, that 98 you get a lot back actually. Let me see here. What is it? 41 to 52? 30? 98? No, 98 you'd get like 188 back. Or 119 you'd be hoping they'd take it.
Without getting anything back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then how do you feel about that? I mean, because you're taking a pick away that could be used to check a box. Obviously, you're securing the center that you want, but like you're losing some of that draft capital to check another box. Again, like that was something, whether it is, I'm trying to think of like what I've done with 119 in the past. Like, okay, maybe if you get the slot corner in the third round, maybe you were looking for like a boundary project corner with that pick or some defensive line depth or whatever it might be. You're losing the ability to do that.
Losing the pick.
Yeah.
To be honest, more than
Me
I
too.
hate making the trade. Honestly, I think I would rather the other way. I think I would rather trade the second, third, and make sure I got something back. But
okay,
I don't know. This is a lot, and I honestly like. I think I have a hard time seeing how he would not be the best player on. Obviously, this is a simulation, and who knows? But like,
yeah,
in real life, I think Houston's taking Zach Frazier here if they get this board.
So if we do 98, is it just looking for 123 back? Is that somewhat?
No, I think. I mean, I think that'd be like aspirational. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the best case scenario, probably. I mean, that's only moving down 25 spots, and we're moving up 9 a round and a half earlier. Yeah, I mean that's probably about as good as you could hope to get there.
Let me just see if they take this. If they take this, we're keeping the same amount of picks, obviously, to continue check boxes. So,
yeah, I don't like losing the pick.
They didn't take it.
Yeah.
Do we still want to work with them? Or are we saying screw them now for rejecting that offer?
I mean, I think we can try something. I mean, they did.
What about future? What about future assets?
Well, we got those. Can we do the same trade and try to throw in one of those 2025 sevenths from the Eagles just to see if they were close? Because I don't care about those at all.
So they have 4 7th. So which one do we like? Does it matter? Like if Denver's considered more valuable, or Washington's is probably the most valuable. I think. I don't know. Where's it the way that they're listed here?
Yeah, I don't know. Just see if they'll do that. Yeah. That's pretty far from the trade value book there. So we have 2 back-to-back picks with Atlanta after this. So if we let it ride, then we're really counting on the Falcons.
I'm a gambling man.
They have Drew Dahlman as their starter, who's been there for a little while.
Yep.
And then the Saints have
what's his name?
He's been
there for a while.
McCoy.
Yeah.
So a couple vets there. Okay, so let's. I mean, I think it's too far. Like I just don't think I don't think there's a good trade to make here. I think you kind of have to let it ride. See what happens.
They went with Kamari Lassiter, so you got past Houston.
I think we can get all the way. I mean, I think we now can get all the way to at least the the Chiefs. What do they want with him?
Oh wow!
Well, can we trade Creed Humphrey? Because I don't know what they want with Zach Frazier.
Yeah, and they have the guards too. I mean, Trey Smith and Joe Thuney.
Yeah. Look, sometimes teams do irrational things. You can't predict it. Well, now I think we just ride to 51 and see who's there, right?
Yep, which we did. There's a trade offer here, 57 a second. Again, future picks or whatever. Okay. This is not a great board for the Steelers again.
Oh, it really is not. Wow, that's an atrocious board. I do like Chris Jenkins.
Xavier Legette's here. Braden Fiskey's all the way down here.
Yeah, I mean, I like the there's 3 good defensive tackle options here.
And then like Van Pran, because you have to think about overdrafting a center now because Frazier went.
I mean, yeah, there's Horo there too. So there's a couple good defensive tackles. So I mean, if we reach at center, it's basically wide receiver, slot corner, and D tackle, and those are the 2/3 and the fourth, and we kind of got to take them in that order. Or I mean, it doesn't matter the order, but like those are the places we kind of have to go.
Mm-hmm.
We could trade down from here. What was our offer?
They were all basically, we were moving down for nothing this year because they were future picks. Yeah.
Right.
Like the board sucks and the trade offer sucked. This has not been a Steelers friendly draft here.
Yeah, I would agree. And we can't like propose our own trade down.
You can. I mean, I don't. Let's see. I mean, how far would we want to go to?
Who needs an edge in this group?
Miami lost some edge, and they got 2 guys there to be coming back from major injuries.
I don't know why Trey Benson is rated that highly anyway. Yeah, this is tough, man. This is a bad board. Trying to look at like teams that also have.
I really hope it doesn't actually turn out like this next month.
Like okay, Detroit has 73 and 61. Would you do that? Move down, like give up 10 picks here to add another third?
If they would do it. I mean, so 51 for, what'd you say? 61 and 73, but are we giving up something else?
No, let's see. 51 to 61 is 112. Should be 25 and then 73. Oh, yeah, we would need to give up more than that. We would, yeah. So we'd need to give up 61 to 51 is 23, and then let's say 72. So we need 40 back. So it's almost like 98 to do it, like by the book. I don't know. We could try 119 and see how much they want to come up.
Nope. I would be interested still with doing it for 98 or 498 though, if they would still do this.
That's pretty close to a book trade. Yeah. Like I don't like the board right here. I'm fine with trading down, and I think that's a good. Damn,
they didn't do it.
All right, let me find another team with multiple day 2 picks here. So Baltimore does not. Yeah, it's tough to find another fit here for a trade down.
And even if there is, like, I feel like that's the whole point of like these proposals coming in. Like, if teams want to move up, they're going to have an offer like in here. Like, that's why like manually trading. I don't know if it ever really works on this.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few teams that seem like they have the assets in this draft. Washington has 67 and 78. I mean, that's so Washington 67 would be 75. So that's 40, almost 40 points. And then 78 is 59, so we need to give up 19 back. So like could maybe do it for 119.
Okay, let's see. Nope.
Yeah. All right.
Again, that's probably fair value. It's just like that.
Yeah.
Let me see something. Would we? I don't even know if I'd want to do it with 98. 119 would have made sense, but
I mean, we can try. Yeah, like, yeah. If it's 98, then you probably got to get something else coming back the other way. And it starts to get very complicated.
Yeah. All right. Well.
All right. If we're standing picking.
Make a pick. Oh, man. Jalen Polk, Chris Jenkins, Leggett, Fiske, or Van Pran. I would say that's probably Ricky Pearsall. They've shown a lot of interest in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would probably be in the trenches regardless of which way it was, whether it's the center Van Pran. I know that's going to be a bit of a reach off based off the board here, or the defensive tackles, and I probably lean to defensive tackles.
I think I like Fiske the best of the players that are there.
Yeah.
Just from a fit standpoint. Probably going to have to move up to make sure we get Van Pran though now.
Well, yeah. Yeah. We'll see if we
can't not have a
he might go right here. I guess let's what is what we're willing to move, because now we're talking about 84. So like,
okay. So we have 119, right?
Yeah.
So 119 is 24 and 84 is 75.
Yeah.
So 119 should get us to 119 should get us to 67. So anytime after 67, we're trading 119 and we're getting something back. So that to me is the sweet spot for me.
Okay, it's at 67.
Yeah,
Washington. So this is where we should be trying to come up.
Well, let's look at where he is on the board. I mean, I think he's still pretty far down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's the 7th best player.
Yeah. So what does Washington have late? They have nothing. They don't even have a 7th. Oh, they do have the early 7th. I mean, we can try 84 and 119 for 67, and they're 222. I would do this trade in a heartbeat.
This is fair based off the book.
It's more than fair for us. They're probably not going to.
Nope.
So, I mean, we may have to just give up the pick to make sure we get him. Like, this is why you don't do this as a franchise, right? Because like now you're sitting here stuck, and you have to make this.
Would you do it if we had to give up 98 but got like one? I don't know. Could we get 130?
So 98 and 84 would be 37 and it's 88, and we're getting. So we'd need 7 back. So 7 from Washington would be. Problem is they don't have a pick anywhere in that range. Like 152 would be
the max of what we could get.
Like that. Like that's like they're probably not going to take it, but that would be like.
Would you do this though personally? Like if this.
I mean, like,
we're not going to pick from 67.
I would try not to get in this position, but I guess, probably.
We wouldn't be picking from 67 until 119 if we make this trade.
Yeah, that's correct. Unless we trade up again, it's going to be difficult because we're running out of draft picks.
Mm-hmm. Is there anybody else after? Like, does it have to be Van Pran? That's my last question.
There's nobody else that is going to start day one as a center.
Okay.
So I kind of feel like we're in a position where we have to make this trade. And I'm not even sure they're going to take it. Okay.
They took it.
That was a pretty fair trade for us. So I feel that's about the first thing I feel good about this entire draft.
Man. Okay. So the lesson on this one is go sign a center, Steelers, and don't get into this position on draft day because this is what you could be. This is literally, I don't know if this is like worst case scenario for the Steelers, but man, it feels pretty close to what it looks like.
Certainly not good.
The thing is, okay, so I know we're not picking yet, but I actually I like the way that the board looks more right now than I did with our last pick.
I agree. All right, so of the positions we have not yet addressed, I think wide receiver is like the big flashing sign here, right? Like it almost has to be the best wide receiver that we can get.
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine Burton would be pretty solid if he gets there.
And he did.
I think
Wayne Burton, Malik Washington.
better than I expected in the 4th round. I mean,
yeah,
there's been some talk about some like off the field stuff, but he's a pretty talented player.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we need to spend too much time on. I'm in agreement. This is what I would do. I think even if you look at the overall board, this is where I would go. Like even if we weren't like locked into having to take a receiver here, this is probably just where
he's
I would
one
go.
of the better picks anyway. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Jaden Hicks went to pick before, and that would have been another guy that I would have been like, might have to have a little bit of a conversation.
Okay, so now
about.
I think D tackle's possible. A slot corner, right? I mean, that seems like who's left.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have our 2/6, it's going to be a struggle to get an impact D tackle here.
We have 152, 178, and 195 the rest of the way.
That's right. We traded for 152. Okay. Well, there's maybe some hope we can get a D tackle at 152, but I wouldn't say a lot.
All right, so here we can move back 5 spots and get another.
Definitely not trading back again, I would think.
You don't want to pick 232?
We've come this far. No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I do like Dylan Laube and Ray Davis. Wow, look at the top of that board.
Yeah.
It's a lot of running backs I enjoy.
Jordan Jefferson.
Although the Steelers did send Carl Dunbar. Luke McCaffrey.
Gabe Hall.
I really like Gabe Hall. He reminds me of Stephon Tuitt.
Gabe Hall feels like he was right now that.
All right, what about corner and safety?
Christian Boyd.
I like both Gabe Hall and Christian Boyd.
Corner, MJ Devonshire. Jarvis Brownlee, Senior Bowl guy, probably.
Man, both of those are good players. I like Jarvis Brownlee more than I like MJ Devonshire. You have to check out the safeties too, because they make some of these guys safeties, but they're just slots. Vaki is a fascinating player. I don't know that I would take him here. Yeah, it looks like all the safeties are pretty far down. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Gabe Hall would be my pick here, even though slot corner is a bigger immediate need. I think, look, Patrick Peterson's out there, Shannon Sullivan's out there. Like, even if we don't address slot corner, I feel better about the team's ability to just find one laying around than I did at center.
Yeah. I would be between Gabe Hall and Jarvis Brownlee. So if you feel better about Gabe Hall, I'm fine with that.
I think corner's deeper. I think we can find a slot corner later. I think this is the end of the D tackles. All
right. We'll lock in Gabe Hall at 150, and Brownlee goes 2 picks later.
I would have been very okay with Christian Boyd there too, by the way. I think he's a really good player. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
So now I've just got our two.
I think what would be interesting, since I mentioned how different the simulators are, if we're going to do separate ones and then discuss them on here and let the comments decide which direction they'd rather have, I think we should use PFF for those ones, since we use PFF for this.
All right.
Just so people can get a better idea of like the difference that you will see with like the prospect rankings and stuff.
A shiny MJ Devonshire has appeared third on the list when we need a slot corner worse than we need anything. I believe that is as easy of a pick as you're going to get.
Yeah. Nothing else there. A corner from me. Sione Vati's still there. Again, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trey Taylor at Air Force, I like just because he's at Air Force.
I guess linebacker maybe would be the other position that's like kind of on the table at this point. Oh, and I do like Eddie Ofascio.
Recently mocked to the Steelers. Matt Miller of ESPN's recent mock draft.
I do like him as a player, but I think given the fact that the Steelers have 4 linebackers under contract,
he might be there at 195. We might be able to get away with that.
Okay,
I don't think
I just think the slot corner vacuum needs addressed, and he's one of the best players on the board. And I really like MJ. He's a good kid. I'm in favor.
Keeping him home, and I'm sure that there it is. That's the one the comments are going to love because it's a pick guy.
Well, they either love it or hate it, right? One or the other. Like, it'll be 50-50.
Well, I said love sarcastically, so I think it's going to. Okay, look at this. We are 1 pick away. There we go. We can take our.
We are not trading out of 190. Actually, look at that pick. Oh, is it?
I can offer it to them though, and they'd still take it. It was 201 and 249, I believe, right?
It was for this. It was for this, and okay, never mind. Yeah, we don't need to trade into this year's 7th round. Actually, the day 3 in this draft is not very good.
Right.
In general.
Yeah.
like compared to
so
others.
Is this
That I'm fine with Olafosio, or let's look at safety, and I think maybe edge would be the other one. Like,
yeah, it's the same safeties that are there basically. Besides,
who else is there below Vaki? Because like here, I'm not to disparage Pro Football Network, but I might have a very different. Like I like Jalen Simpson better than every other player on this list, and he's like way down there. Like he's pretty good. Yeah, okay. Now you're down into the Nowheresville corner. Yeah. Quantez Stiggers is very interesting.
Oh yeah,
out of the CFL. I don't think we need that edge. Eric Watts, I really like him. I mocked him to the Steelers earlier this offseason, back when they still had a 7th round pick. Not sure I'd take him here. I think I like Eddie Olafosio the best of the bunch we have
Steel
here.
Chambers, though.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot of good linebackers left. JD Bertrand's good. John Trey Hunter's all right. I think I like Eddie Olafosio the best of this bunch.
Yep.
And I think given the question marks about Cole Holcomb's ability to be ready for the start of the season, I think that's useful. This is not a good draft, my friend, that we've put together here.
This is okay. So we don't know. We're at the mercy of how Pro Football Network Simulator is going to draft for these teams. We're only drafting for the Steelers. So in this case, yeah, the board did not shake out well more often than not.
I think we did. I think we did okay given the board.
Yeah,
like there wasn't a lot of regret after the picks that we made. I didn't feel like where it's like, oh, we could have had this guy. It was just that was who was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I hate like trading up the way that we did, like out of need like that, but I still feel like even the next pick, we had that long gap, but then we're still able to get Burton, which I felt like was pretty good value. So like, how much were we really losing there by trading up to get to?
I mean, we lost the difference between Ricky Pearsall and Jermaine Burton, which like I don't think is terrible.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at the final result here of what we got. J.C. Latham, Braden Fiske. When did this happen? When did Cedric Van Pran Granger start adding that hyphenated Granger to?
I don't know.
His name?
I don't know.
Jermaine Burton, Gabe Hall, MJ Devonshire, and I'll let you say this name.
Olafosio, Eddie. I got the last name down.
Okay.
Like I just he's Eddie.
Eddie Olafosio. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go. All right. Just to recap, final thoughts on the haul. I know that we've talked about the how the board fell for us and it wasn't great or anything, but I think given the circumstances, the way that the board fell, I feel okay about it. I mean, we did get a center that I think can start. We got Dan Moore off the field. J.C. Latham is going to be a starting player. Braden Fiske, I feel like he has really good value, as well as Jermaine Burton. Gabe Hall, another piece for the defensive line, getting some depth there. MJ Devonshire, that might be I like MJ Devonshire as a player, but do you feel like there is still the need at corner even after this? If it is just MJ Devonshire?
No, I think they need one guy. I think maybe the one position like we could have gone twice to would have been wide receiver, but given how late we got into that game as it was, I don't know. I think it's tough.
Right.
I think we did good work here, man. I think this is like it was a bad board, but I don't think this is a bad draft. Like if this is what the Steelers come home with, I'll probably would grade this draft like a B-.
Okay.
Like I don't, given where they're picking, I don't think this is bad work at all. And like, look, we picked 2 D tackles, so can we like flip the Marvin Leal for something and maybe make this like not hurt so bad? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna save that and post it and just get people's thoughts on the first.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alan, before we get out of here, as always, tell the people where they can find you.
Saunders _PGH, Steelers Now, SteelersNow.com. Wrote about quarterbacks today on a day where we didn't talk about quarterbacks. It might be the first time that's ever happened in the history of the Steelers Afternoon Drive podcast. But I just wrote about how, like, I like the moves that Omar Khan has made, and I've talked glowingly about them, and I think that was the right thing to do. But I think you also have to acknowledge that, like, if the end goal is to win the Super Bowl, and that's what Omar Khan discussed at the owners' meetings this week, a guy you trade a 6th-round pick for and a guy making the veteran minimum are probably not what is likely to get your franchise to that point. So, yeah. Anyway, hasn't been done for a very long time for a team to win the Super Bowl with this little invested in the quarterback position. So that's what I wrote about at SteelersNow.com to go check it out.
There's just some NFL news as we are recording. The Eagles traded Hassan Reddick to the Jets for a third that can become a second if he plays 2/3 of the team's snaps and has 10 sacks on the year.
All right.
So Hassan Reddick's a good player.
Yes, he is.
Interested to see where Philly goes after that, but there's been some smoke around him being traded for a while now. So, okay, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I know this was a longer episode because of this exercise, so we appreciate you guys tuning in for the entirety of it, like I know that you did. Hit us in the comments with your thoughts on the draft haul. Like I said, I'll be posting it on social media as well to get your guys' thoughts over there. Leave us a 5-star review if you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Be back over the weekend, but until then, for Alan Saunders and myself, find me at Zachary Smith PGH, and thanks for jumping in and taking another ride with us on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.